right, time to take a look at the ALORAIR Sentinel Series Dehumidifier. This is a 115 volt model, and this is the HD35P. Cool. So I do like they put plastic corner protectors on there, so that means that they care about the shipping. We got our instruction manual on the top. We got our drain hose. And that is the guy. Cool, wow. Look at that great big fan on the back. Oh, we do have a nice long cord on here, so that's good. Then on the back we got this Ethernet connector, and we got this terminal block. So the Ethernet is going to be for a remote control. So one of the things that they said in here, if you want to throw this thing in a crawl space, you want to make sure that that stays dry, but you don't have to keep on climbing in there to actually check on this thing. You can just plug that thing in, have your remote set up somewhere where you can easily access it, and then you can use that to easily monitor this unit. And then this terminal block you can connect to a relay, and you can use that to actually control the unit. So very cool. And I really like this nice big fan here. We got our display here on the side. We got on, off, set, drain, and GPP mode. And here on the front, we got our filter. So it looks like a foam mesh with a reinforcement, which is great because that means we're going to be able to just wash this thing off instead of having to replace it every time. And then this I love to see. So that has an epoxy coating on that radiator. So that means we're not going to have to worry as much about corrosion or anything like that. So nice and protected. That's very cool. And then here on this side, we got the model information. They say it's 110 volts, 60 hertz, and 2.9 amps. That's really good. So 2.9 amps is not a lot of power at all. For a good dehumidifier that's actually going to take care of the spot that you want to take care of, that is not a lot of power. And it is ETL certified. It's using R32 refrigerant, thermally protected motors. That's good, so you don't have to worry about this thing catching fire. It even tells you the pressure in case somebody has to service it. It's 35 bar on the high side, 15 on the low side, 35 ppd. So that's pints per day. That means that this is going to be able to pull a lot of water out of the air. That is a nice little dehumidifier. So you got our drain spot right here. And I did notice it at first, but we actually have two hoses here. So the smaller hose is going to attach to the pump. I'm just going to slide the nut on, stick that onto the barb. There you go. It's a nice good seal. And then we can thread that nut on. So that way we don't have to worry about any water escaping whenever this is pumping water out. So that's one of the great things about this system. If you want to, you can set this thing right on the floor, and even if it has to pump it up, like if the only drain that you have available is upstairs or you want to pump it out a window or something like that, this can pump up, so it said, 19.6 feet. So you don't have to worry about the water just kind of draining out of the thing. You can actually have this thing set to pump out, and then even if the drain is above the unit, they can still get that water out. So that's very cool. So we have that option, and if we don't want to use the pump, we can even save more power. So we'll just use this. This is for gravity. So that's what the other hose is. You just shove that guy on. And then if this is up higher than the drain, you can just have this thing run down to the drain, and then you don't even have to worry about running that pump. So very cool that we got two options with this dehumidifier. Now if we're not going to use that, just unplug that, take this cap, plug it back up, and then we'll only use the pump. So very cool. So it does say that you want to allow 6 feet behind and 6 feet in front. That way you can make sure that you got plenty of airflow, because naturally dehumidifier needs to be able to suck in the air and push the air out. But I think as long as you give it plenty of space, then you'll be okay. So let's go ahead and plug this guy in. All right, so it's doing a power on self-test. So it's set to continuously run, and it's set to pump. So it's going to use the pump. If we click drain, that's going to drain all the water out. So essentially, if this thing's been running for a while, but we want to take this thing and move it, by itself, the pump will only turn on whenever the water comes up to a certain level. So if we want to just fire that, we would hit drain. I'm not going to do it right now because, of course, it's dry. So let's turn it on. Okay. So naturally, it's coming in the filtered side and then pushing out the fan side. And if we change GPP mode, right now it's set to GPP. And right now it is set to humidity. So it is saying that we are at a 41% humidity in this room right now. And it does make a little noise, but the noise that it's making is mostly just the air pushing through it. So I like that. It's not a very loud machine. And this is something I really like to see. They actually gave you a schematic of the wiring inside the machine. This is something I never see with equipment. I really like that they're actually providing you with that, because most companies, they want to keep everything inside a secret. This one, if you actually have to work on it, they're actually giving you some of the tools you need to work on it. So that's actually kind of impressive. I really like that. Okay, so in that period of time, we went from 41 to 39 and dropping. All right, so we are at 38. So let's check. This is how we can set where we want it to shut off at. So I'm going to set it to 40, which means that it should shut off here shortly. Yep, so I just heard it actually shut off. The power is still on, but it's not technically running because it's actually at 37% humidity now. So this thing works quick. But what this is going to do is it's going to allow me to set a specific moisture level in this room so it never goes above it. Now, because this is an AC unit, it's going to take a minute to shut off. It's going to have to make sure that everything settles. But it will settle, it'll stop, and then when it gets back above 40%, then it's going to kick back on again. So this will keep everything below 40% humidity. What if it's going to keep the fan on? Let's set it to 50. There we go. Cool, so it does. It automatically shuts off. So right now I have it set to 50. It's going to let that humidity rise to 50, and when it gets there, it'll kick back on again. So it was kind of amazing how fast I was able to drop that humidity level. So we got anywhere between... Okay, so we got continuous, 25, and all the way up to 80 in 5% increments. So pretty cool. So if we just set this to continuous, it'll just keep on running. It'll keep it as dry as it can possibly get it. Now, what I'm curious about, if I set this to, so it's at 40, it's set to 40. I'm curious if I take this and I unplug it and I take it to the shop and I turn it back on, is it going to keep that setting? All right, we got some water on the floor. Cool, we are still set to 40. So what that means is, if you got this thing running and the power goes out, when the power comes back on, it's just gonna go right back to running again. So that's very good. Okay, well, we are dry now, almost completely dry. There's a few wet spots still around, but yeah, that's just good thing. Yeah, not very wide. There's a little water inside, so it's going to be quite dry. I probably should just see what the pump's at. See if it's kind of pump. Okay, so the pump does work. Just didn't collect enough water to actually pump it out, so all of it was able to evaporate as it was dehumidified. So just judging by the floor, we are dry. Except for this little part, that might actually be a leak from the bag system, but yeah, I'm happy with that. That is a pretty awesome little unit.